Hi, I wanted to welcome you to Find Peace and Contentment while living with chronic pain. And we're going to create an easy to follow 5 step action plan during the next hour. So, hi, my name is Chris Hunter, and I founded GoChrisHunter.com. And I have lived with chronic pain head to toe for the past 18 years. Well, 3 years ago, I discovered a Christian approach to living with chronic pain, which has allowed me to experience peace and joy and contentment. And I want to share that with you. And I founded GoChrisHunter.com as a way to share this with others on how to have joy and peace and contentment while living with pain. And I'm creating articles and videos and courses and ebooks to share this with others. Well, I was wondering if you ever felt this way. You miss your pre-pain self. You feel so guilty because you just can't take care of your family like you used to or play with the kids. You're existing, not living. Or you say, I wish I had a more supportive family and friends who understood me. Or I feel so worthless because I just can't contribute like before. If the pain would only go away, or if I could just find a little relief. I'm just so sad and depressed and hopeless over the pain and future. Have you ever felt that way? Boy, I know how that feels. Well, what if there was a solution? Well, let me tell you, 3 years ago, I began to obey a specific Christian teaching which transformed my life. And God lifted me up from a life of misery and sadness and depression and hopelessness. And He transformed me to experience peace of mind and contentment despite living with the pain. And I truly believe that if God can do that for me, then it's at least possible for Him to do that for you as well. Well, would you like me to show you how? Would you like to give it a shot? Well, we're going to go ahead and create your own easy to follow 5 step action plan. I'm basically going to show you what I learned and what I did, and I'm really hoping that you'll get similar results, that you could be at peace with the pain instead of fighting it, that you would possibly accept yourself and your limitations and be content, live a meaningful and joyful life. And you can put this action plan to work immediately. I mean, immediately. So how's that sound to you? Well, let me just give you an overall outline about what we're going to do today. Well, I'm going to tell you about myself and share my own story of chronic pain and how I had that aha realization of what to do. I'll reveal what transformed me from being absolutely miserable to having peace of mind and contentment. And I'll help you put together an easy 5 step action plan, which can possibly provide you with peace of mind, contentment, and meaning as well. So how's that sound to you? Well, let's get started. Well, let me also give you a heads up. This presentation is going to be about an hour long, so I want you to stick with me for the hour. And at the end, I'm going to show you how you can help me design programs that meet your needs as well. So stick around to the end. Well, let me introduce myself. As I said, my name is Chris Hunter, and I've got 8 years experience teaching environmental education at parks and nature centers, basically sharing the wonders of nature with others. And I'm also a devout Christian. I've taught Sunday school and I've also presented several Wonders of Creation programs in my local church. So I have been committed to knowing the scriptures. I've actually studied the Bible cover to cover 10 times in the past 13 years. So I've got a really good understanding of scripture. So I've also got 18 years of chronic pain head to toe. And you know for yourself, unless you've got chronic pain, you know people can't understand what you're going through. So let me tell you, I understand. and I created GoChrisHunter.com to help Christians with chronic pain lead more joyful lives. So, well, let's see. How did you join the Chronic Pain Club? Well, I just wondered if you might be able to share with me and other people that would view this video, exactly what's going on with you and how long have you had it. For example, you could say I've had fibromyalgia for 5 years, or a car accident 2 years ago. And just, there's a comment section below this video. If you could just enter that answer below in the comment section. And that way other viewers and myself will know that they aren't alone and what's going on with you. And we can kind of share that with each other. So, well, let me tell you how I joined the Chronic Pain Club. Well, in summer of 1998, 4 of my friends got together. We said, what have we always wanted to do that we never have done? Well, let's go skydiving. So we went through like 6 hours of training to skydive by ourselves, jump out of the plane on our own and land. And I thought, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? I mean, I've got 2 parachutes, so if the one doesn't open, the other one will. And but I guess when you think about it, the most important thing about skydiving is not the chute opening, it's the landing. If you don't get the landing right, that's the major importance. Well, let me tell you something. When I landed, I was supposed to land on my feet, and I didn't. I landed right on my butt and just jolted my entire spine. And I was in the hospital for 3 days. I could still walk, but let me tell you something. It was a painful experience when I landed. That's how I joined the club. And I have lived with chronic pain head to toe for the past 18 years. So I know what it's like to have chronic pain. Well, let me tell you, about 2 months after my accident, I went to my orthopedic doctor and I said, I've got this pain between my shoulder blades now. Can you take an x-ray of that and tell me if there's something wrong with it? And he said, it's probably just referred pain. He just kind of threw up his hands. He says, there's really nothing I can do. You'll just have chronic pain the rest of your life. Well, I thought, man, you're throwing in the towel on me. And I was so upset. And I swore to myself, there's got to be a way to relieve this pain. I knew there was. Do you ever feel that way? So I said, there's got to be a way. So I thought, well, the right combination of doctors and therapies and even meditation or diet, there's got to be a way out there that I can relieve this pain. So I was committed to do it. I'll do whatever it takes. And I was just wondering if you've ever tried some of these things. Integrative pain medicine, pain management, where you've got doctors and practicing Western medicine. And there really wasn't anything that surgery could do for me. But the medical doctors were there to help me as well as Eastern practices. So I tried that. Chiropractic care, massage, acupuncture, physical therapy, diet, supplementation. Have you tried any of those? How about yoga or meditation or even laying on of the hands healing, like healing touch? Or medication like Lyrica or Cymbalta to try to relieve the pain. Also TENS units, electrical stimulation, and even counseling to cope with the stresses of chronic pain. Well, I've even was so desperate that I went to a Native American shaman. Basically after several years of this, I was really willing to try anything. Do you ever feel that way? So, what were the results? Overall, the results were kind of mediocre. It's like I got a bit of relief from massage, changing my diet, meditation, but it was really mediocre. But there were some things that actually increased the pain, like physical therapy. It made it even worse. Or stretching made it even worse. And the only thing that really got reduced during this time was the money in my wallet. That's what I lost a lot of, or reduced. And the, do you ever feel this way? It's like you just don't accept the pain. You fight against it. You push yourself against it. I'm never going to settle for this, or it's not going to stop me, or maybe you ignore the pain. Well, I'll do this even though it's going to hurt me. Or how about trying to distract yourself? You ever just spend like an entire weekend watching an entire series of TV series on Netflix for the whole weekend? I've done that many times. Anything to get your mind off the never-ending pain. You ever do that? Well, how about this way? You ever felt like, after a while you're just kind of like, man, it's so depressing. I'm so sad. It's like nothing I do relieves the pain. Some things even make it worse. Will this pain ever go away? And then you begin to feel really hopeless too. It's like, man, nothing I do makes any difference, and the pain is just getting worse. I'm getting more and more disabled. Or how about, do you ever feel like your life is being crushed by the pain? Well, or you think, man, I really just want my old life back. Do you ever feel that way? I know the feeling on that. So, and then there's some days you think, man, I'm going to do it no matter what. I'm making a commitment. Today I'm going to clean the house. I'm cleaning the house. Or I'm going on a nice walk with my family during the family reunion, or going on a walk with a bunch of friends. And boy, did you find out the next day that you overdid it, and you end up having to spend the entire day or two on the couch trying to recover because you're in so much pain. Or you end up having to spend like another $80 to go get a massage or two. And it's like we become disabled, and we're afraid that we begin to reject ourselves. It's like I should be able to do more than I can. And we actually begin to doubt our own value because we can't contribute to our family the way that we want to, or be there for our family. Do you ever feel that way? Well, or how about, there were many times when I just laid in my bed at night praying, God, please help me. Please heal me. Sometimes I'd go to Bible studies, and I'd ask the people in my Bible study, when they asked for prayer requests, it's like, would you please pray for me? And they did. But, and you wonder, it's like, man, how can I continue to live like this? It's never going to get any better. And as I get older, I'm just going to be in more pain and become more disabled. Do you ever feel that way? That's the way I've been feeling a lot. It's like I went years feeling like that. Well, let me tell you something. Something happened 3 years ago that just absolutely changed my life, revolutionized it. I went from being this glum old frog to being the dancing frog. It's like, hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. You know, uh, it was just wonderful what I experienced and how it uplifted my life. And that's what I really want to share with you. And I want to tell you, it just transformed my life to having peace of mind and absolute contentment. The pain didn't go away, but inside I just felt so healed over it. And basically what I did is I went to this men's devotional group at our church. I'd actually attended there for years in that group, but I came to them that morning with a problem. And what this group was a group of former ministers and elders, and I asked their advice, and I'll get into the specifics here in just a minute. But, I thought that these guys had a lot of great wisdom. I mean, most of them were old enough that they probably knew Moses personally. So I was the youngest in the room by far. But I went, I came to them and I basically just kind of shared with them, how much I'd suffered with a chronic pain with little relief. And my fear was how it's going to get worse and more disabled with time. And, how sad and discouraged I'd become. And, I asked him, I said, can you give me some Christian advice for how to live with and cope with the pain and my future increasing disability? And let me tell you, that morning I was brought to my knees and I listened. And, the thing is, it's like they were often living with chronic health problems themselves. I mean, there were 70, 80-year-old men in there. Some of them were close to 90-year-old men. So they knew what it was like to have chronic health problems themselves. And, each person offered advice, and I took notes. I mean, I was serious. And, we began the session and ended with a prayer. And they all basically gave me the same advice or similar advice, okay? Drum roll, please. Follow Jesus and help the poor and the needy. This would get me outside of myself. So you know what? I committed from that morning forward to do what I could to help the poor and the needy, because I know that's a big thing that Christ and God wants us to do. And man, from that moment forward, my life changed. It's like, hey, this is great. And let me tell you how. It's like I began to develop this peace of mind and contentment that I never imagined that was possible. And I accepted myself. And I'm actually am at peace with the pain and my limitations. And I think of myself as blessed. Like, I'll be okay even if I end up in a wheelchair, And I want you to experience this for yourself too. And so I want to share concrete examples of what I did and how I experienced God's transforming my life, spirit, and thinking. And we can work together, and we're going to create your own easy to follow 5-step action plan. So you'll have your own easy to follow plan. I'm hoping that it will lead you to being blessed with a sense of contentment and peace of mind about yourself, the pain, and your life. And how does that sound to you? Well, before we get started, what I want you to do is look below this video, in the area right below it. If you're watching it on YouTube, there should be a little tab that says show more. Click that. If not, look right below this video. There should be an area where you can download some files. Okay? And what you want to do is you want to click on and download the files that are available. And one of those files is an action plan PDF file. So I want you to pause the video, print out that action plan file, and look at it. And then resume the video when you're ready, and we'll get started. So I'm hoping that you all printed out at least the action plan file, and we're going to create this Christian easy 5-step action plan. So here are the goals. We're going to commit to helping the poor and the needy. And I'm really hoping that you'll start to feel at peace with the pain instead of fighting it as you help others. That eventually you may kind of see the light and kind of go through the same thing I did, where, I'm really hoping that God can help you to accept yourself and your limitations and be content and live a meaningful and joyful life. And I'm going to kind of share with you what happened as I began to help others and how it changed me. So the objectives for this course, what you're actually going to do is you're going to create an easy 5-step action plan. During that time, you're going to help the poor and the needy. You're going to personally help somebody twice a week over the next 30 days. And you're going to journal about your experiences, your thoughts, your feelings when helping others, and how you feel about yourself. So let's go ahead and create that action plan. So go ahead and look at your handout and look down on step 1, okay? And we're going to look at where it says on the first page, review God and Christ's commands and promised blessings. So the question is, what does God and Christ say about helping the poor and the needy? Well, I've got these scriptures right here on the action plan, so you can go ahead and read them with me together. The first one is Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 11. There will always be poor people in the land. Therefore, I command you to be open-handed towards your brothers and towards the poor and the needy in your land. So God basically wants us to be generous to the poor. All right. The next one is Matthew chapter 25, verses 34 through 40. This is Jesus talking about at the end of time, and he is the king that's referred to in this story. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father. Take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes or clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you?" And the king will reply, "I tell you the truth, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me." So basically, he really wants us to help others. Now, this last verse here in this section is James chapter 1, verses 27. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after the orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. So he's kind of giving us our marching orders here about what he wants us to do. Well, now the next question is that what does God promise us in return for helping the needy? And he actually promises to bless and support you for helping the needy. So let's look here in Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 19. When you are harvesting in your field and you overlook a sheaf, do not go back and get it. Leave it for the alien, the fatherless, and the widow, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. Then we'll move on to Isaiah chapter 58, verses 6 through 11. Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen? To loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke? Is it not to share your food with the hungry and to provide the poor wanderer with shelter? When you see the naked, to clothe him and not turn away from your own flesh and blood? Then your light will break forth like the dawn, and your healing will quickly appear. Then your righteousness will go before you, and the glory of the Lord will be your rear guard. Then you will call, and the Lord will answer. You will cry for help, and he will say, "Here I am." If you do away with the yoke of oppression, with the pointing finger and malicious talk, and if you spend yourselves in behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness, and your night will become like the noonday. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden like a spring whose waters never fail. So he is basically saying, if you help others, I'll help you in return. I'll give support to you and I'll help you. I'll back you up. So finally, the Matthew chapter 6, verses 3 and 4. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. So basically, God is saying, hey, I really want you to help others in need. And I will help you in return for doing that. I will bless you in ways that actually make you more capable of helping others. So now when I was deciding how I was going to help others, I basically used Matthew chapter 25, 34 through 40 as my guide. Examples in there are feed the hungry, serve the thirsty, invite a stranger to visit, provide clothing, look after the sick, visit somebody in jail. So, one of the very first things I did was I helped deliver groceries from the local food bank to low income households. There was a group from my church that once a month we would take our 2 church buses over to the local food bank, load up the groceries of food, and deliver them to about 20 different people in our community. And there was about 8 to 10 of us that did that. And I'm telling you, it got me out of the house and out of myself, and it was fun, and I made some friends while I was doing it. I mean, there were some people in that group that I knew well and some people that I didn't, but it was a real great way to make friends, and it was just a fun couple of hours. And I made sure that I carried lightweight items, like a paper bag with a couple of boxes of cereal in it. Or even one option that I could have done was there was a clipboard that somebody had to carry up to the front door of these people's homes and have them sign for the groceries. So, I mean, I could have done something as simple as that, that didn't strain my back. And, you know, the fun thing about it was, or the kind of cool thing about it, is that I gained support and acceptance and friendship from the very people that I was doing this with in the church, in the church buses. It was great to get to know these people, and it was actually a fun couple of hours. And it was something easy that I could do just once a month to start with. So how did I experience God bless me in return? Well, one thing, as I was delivering these groceries and walking into people's homes, I mean, I could just feel my mind and my heart change inside of me. I mean, the people that we were delivering these groceries to, they were so glad to see us, so glad to have visitors. A lot of these people were shut ins. And, the thing was, it's like, wow, I could easily visit them again and bring more joy to their lives. I didn't have to deliver groceries, but I could have easily said, hey, would you like a visitor periodically during the week? I mean, I'd be happy to come down and visit with you for a little while. Maybe we could play cards or watch television or just chit chat. I mean, that was something easy that I could do and bring more light, bring more joy to their lives. And, as I was delivering these groceries to these people, I really started to recognize, wow, I've got a lot of blessings in my life. I have a job, I can drive, I got friends to visit, I own my own home, I'm well educated, just more and more blessings. I just kind of recognized that. And the thing was, it's like, and with pain, it's like the pain, it's almost it demands you to focus on it. And you get to thinking, it's like, wow, my life is just nothing but pain, and the effects of the pain just radiate out and create problems in other areas of my life. And what was going on basically is, it's like I was so focused on that, I just thought that's all my life was pain and problems. But what I didn't see is that I had these blinders on, that that's all I could see. And I didn't recognize that I had all these other blessings in my life because I was so focused on the pain. And it's like God took those blinders off of me while I was doing this. Boom, the blinders are gone, and I started seeing my real life. My real life is got a lot of blessings in it. And I began to see, it's like, wow, this is my real life. It's filled with blessings. And yet my pain and problems just take up a small portion of the blessings of my life. And there's a lot more blessings in my life than there are problems. And I thought, wow, my life is actually pretty good. And basically what it did is it changed my focus. I was able to kind of step back away from my pain and problems and just see, it's like, wow, my life has really got a lot of good things in it. And the thing is that my circumstances didn't have to change. They didn't have to change. My life itself was actually really good. And I was able to see that, God changed my perspective on that while I was helping others. And, does that make sense to you? Have you guys seen that in your own lives, or does that make sense to you? Well, before you move on to step 2, basically, if you have any questions or comments, just post them below in the comment section, and I will read those and I will respond back to you. So just let me know what's going on. Okay, so now let's move on to step number 2. So go ahead and look on your action plan handout. It's right below all the scripture. So the question is, what are some obstacles and limitations that you face? What's keeping you from helping others, or what are your limitations? So, do you have some physical disabilities? Maybe you cannot drive because of pain. Are there financial limitations that you're facing? Maybe you're really busy raising a family. You don't have a lot of spare time. And I'm not saying that you can't help somebody in your family either. So, but just put that down. Do you have a lot of obligations that limits your abilities to help others? And as I said, I'm not saying you can't choose somebody in your immediate family to help. So maybe fatigue is standing in your way from helping others, or the pain itself. And there could be some other mental or emotional issues, fears and beliefs that are getting in your way from helping others. So you got to kind of take an inventory here. So let me give you an example of a couple objections and limitations that I faced. Well, one of the physical limitations I had was just excruciating pain throughout my body. And whenever I exerted myself physically, it made my pain worse. So that basically meant I wasn't going to be hammering nails to build a house for Habitat for Humanity. And another mental limitation that I had, or emotional limitation, was of fear. And, Jesus asks us to surrender our lives to follow him. And one mental objection I had was, what about my desires? And I feared that I wouldn't get what I wanted if I put others first. So, does that make sense to you? So you're just kind of taking a brief inventory of what the things are that limits you when it comes to helping others. So basically what I want you to do before we move on to step 3, as I said, post some questions or comments below. I will get back to you on them. And I want you to pause the video for maybe 2 minutes and just list a couple of answers on your action plan for step number 2. So, and then after that, press play to move forward. Well, welcome back. I hope you put down a couple answers on step 2. Now let's move on to step 3. So what I want you to do is identify your resources and assets. What do you got going for you that you can help others with? One of them is your natural gifts and talents. Maybe you're a great singer, or maybe you're a great piano player, or you're an artist, a painter, that you can share all those talents to help others in ways that those are the things that come easy for you, so you could easily share with other people. Maybe there's some other traits that you have: physical resources, or emotional, spiritual, financial, time, material resources. For example, as far as emotional goes, maybe you're a very calm person, so you could maybe help some kids that were struggling in school and they needed some volunteer help. Maybe you're just a naturally calm, uplifting person. As far as spiritual goes, maybe you have a really good understanding of Scripture and faith, and you can share that with others. Maybe you got a lot of spare time, and you could go visit some people who are shut-ins, or take somebody to the grocery store. Material resources. Maybe you have a nice, reliable pickup truck with a trailer on it that you could loan somebody to move someone. Those types of things. And then you also could have some specialized education or training. Maybe you're a lawyer, maybe you're a teacher. You could definitely apply those things. Maybe you've got some trainings, maybe you're a plumber. There might be somebody that's in your church that needs some help with their toilet getting clogged up or whatever. You could volunteer to do that. There's always different ways of helping people using your specialized educations and trainings. So in my case, what were my resources? Okay, well, one thing is I'm patient. I don't get worked up really quick over anything, so I'm good in stressful situations. I know how to tell a joke. I can drive. I've got a dependable car. I was off work on Mondays and Tuesdays. So one of the things, the way that I use those things, is that there was a fella in my church that was on the list for a liver transplant, and he needed a ride to see his doctor at the transplant center that was like 4.5 hours drive away. He didn't have the money could afford to drive over there, and he really didn't have a very reliable car. So I volunteered to help take him over there. And the thing is, as far as what seeing God blessings is, God in action here, is that God actually blessed me and us by covering the expenses. The church paid for our gas and our overnight lodging if we needed it. And I actually was doing pretty well financially, that I could pay for my friends' meals. And the thing that was really good is, since I could offer him support and understanding, and he could offer me support and understanding as well. So how did God bless me in return for this? Well, once again, I began to recognize the blessings that I had. I mean, he was his chance of living, he might have only, the doctor said, you may only be alive for the next couple months if you don't get the surgery that you need or the medical attention you need. I wasn't facing anything like that. I began to realize, it's like, wow, there's a lot of, overall, I'm pretty healthy other than the pain. I felt really good about what I was doing when it came to helping him. I gained a new friend, and he provided me with support and understanding of my own suffering. So, and once again, prior to helping him, when it came to my life, all I could see was the pain and the problems. That was my perspective, and I was pretty unhappy when I looked at that. But it's like all I could see was the pain. But once again, it's like God kind of backed me away from focusing on all that, and I could see my true life. That my true life was full of blessings. And I just had an area in my life that did have pain and problems, but my blessings in my true life far outweighed my pain and problems, you know, and it was pretty good. My life was pretty good just the way that it was. So, the thing was is that my circumstances didn't have to change for me to feel better about myself. And, God blessed me with a much clearer view of my life, all the blessings that I had. And God provided me with support and understanding and friendship. So, does that make sense to you? Well, once again, before we move on to step 4, if you got any questions or comments, post them below. I will respond back to you. And, I'll keep an eye on this page. And I want you to pause the video for 2 minutes, and also on your action plan under step 3. Just list a few of your resources and assets. You don't have to fill it out completely, but just put a few answers in there. You'll have time later to fill it out. Okay? Then press play when you're ready. Well, welcome back, and I hope you did list a few answers. We're going to move on to the next page, step number 4. So the question is, who are you going to help and how? So what I want you to do is brainstorm a list of ways that you can use your talents and resources to help others. And try to think of specific ministries and charities and social services and individuals that are accessible to you. And one great way to find that out is to look at your church bulletin. I mean, there's all kinds of people and programs listed in many church bulletins. These are all opportunities for you to help each other and help others. So, prayer requests. There might be people that are living in assisted living homes or retirement communities or nursing homes you could go visit. You could talk to the staff at the church and other members of your church to find out, get ideas on who to help. And what I want you to do, this is most important, probably the most important thing about this step, is you want to choose easy ways that don't overexert you, So don't overdo it, That is really, really important. So you don't want to do things that are going to increase your pain or increase your fatigue. So respect your limitations. Okay, so what I want you to do, once again, when it comes to committing to helping others, I want you to start immediately, like now, today, and personally help somebody twice this week. It could be the same person twice, or it could be 2 different people once. And I'm just having you get a start with this, and then journal about what you did and you thought and you felt and you experienced during the time and afterwards. And repeat this for the next 4 weeks. And so let me tell you a little bit more about what I did and how I helped somebody. Another example. Well, I helped and befriended a man who was arrested and going to go to jail. There was a fellow that I went to church with. He got arrested, and he was going to go to jail in a few months. So I became friends with him and helped him out and got to know him and invited him into my home and treated him to lunch and all that kind of stuff and just got to know him. And the thing was, it's like he went to jail about 4 months after he got arrested, and I had befriended him, and I was the one that ended up. I bought his last meal before he went to jail, and I drove him to the jail to drop him off there on a Friday. And I visited him again while he was in jail, and then once he got out, I still have kept in touch with him since he was released. So how did God bless me in return for this? Well, let me give you a couple examples. It's like as I was helping him and other people, I just felt better and better about myself since I started helping others. You ever feel like you have no value because of the pain you can't contribute like you once did? Well, let me tell you something. In these easy ways, I started feeling really good about myself, that I was valuable for what I was doing. Um, you know, and the thing was, it's like I saw God in action. How this man was being blessed and supported by our church while this was going on. About a week before he went to jail, our entire congregation prayed for him. And within 3 days of him being going to jail, he was put on a work release program. Now, his jail sentence was originally 90 days. Okay? He would get time off of his jail sentence or going to work on this daily work release program. His jail sentence was 90 days. Because he was out on this work release program, he was released in 35 days. You think God didn't have a hand in that? It was amazing. And the thing was, it's like since he was doing this work release, he needed money for meals during the day while he was out on the road. He's working for the road crew, and also he needed a new pair of boots. So our church actually took a collection for him to pay for his meals and also to pay to buy him a pair of boots. And the thing is, I made a new friend in him, and when he got out, it's like he was kind of a handyman, so he did odd jobs for me uh, that I wasn't physically able to do around my house. So I was blessed by knowing him. Does that make sense to you guys? Well, before we move forward, once again, if you got any questions or comments, put them below. I'll get back to you. Pause the video for a couple minutes and list a few answers in step 4 on the action plan printout. So now I do want to have kind of a sidebar here. This isn't actually one of the steps, but but I think you need to ask for God's help in this because it's really God that provides the power and the help that you're going to need. And I think to get great results, you got to lay everything down on the line. You got to be serious. I mean, when I went to that group that morning, I went there to get some answers and I went there to ask for help and I was serious. I was kind of brought to my knees when I went to meet with that men's devotional group. And I really think it's very important for you to do this in person. You know, come forward in person to share this with a group or even the entire congregation to have them pray for you. I think there is definitely power in numbers, and I really do think it's very important, and it lets people know you're serious. And also, um, you might get a few ahas at that point when you do come forward, when you are serious about it, that there might be some changes that you're going to have to make yourself. You know, maybe if you're really depressed, you might have to get some counseling or go on some depression medicine or actually get off the couch on the weekends to get off the couch and go help somebody. So, um, those are all things that you've got to be willing to do when you ask for God's help, I think. And I actually have a printout of an article I wrote on how to ask powerful prayers. It's one of the PDF files below this video. I really want you to print out and read it. I think it's got some good advice in there. It kind of shares the 3 times that I came forward and what were the results of those prayer requests. So just before we move on to step 5, I kind of wanted to give you my testimony of what my greatest healing was as a result of doing all this. And for years, I had this sadness and hopelessness and mourning in my heart that the pain will never go away. I mean, it just felt like this huge thorn of pain in my heart, right in the center of my chest. It just ached all the time. And I'm telling you, within a few months of helping others, one day I realized it's like, wow, that thorn of pain, hopelessness, sadness, mourning, is gone. It's gone. God blessed me with that. One other thing that he did, actually, is about 8 months after I started doing all this, one of my congregation member friends gave me a hot tub as a gift. And once I got it up and running, within a week, it cut my pain level in half. Out of everything I had done in the previous 15 years, nothing had made such a big difference as what I felt when I got in this hot tub. And I've been using it ever since. And it's just like, I really believe that was truly a blessing from God. So it was just amazing. So I'm still in chronic pain, and I still hurt, and I still have fatigue. But man, do I feel so much better than I did 3 years ago. So, um, I still have the pain, but I feel like my spirit was healed, and I can accept the pain. I'll be okay. And I feel really good about helping others, and it gives me meaning and satisfaction. And I really have an inner sense of peace and contentment like I never had before. And I've been blessed in a way with less physical pain as a result of getting that hot tub. It was just like a godsend. So I really do believe that it is possible for God to bless your life in this way. And actually, really, if you take an honest look at your life the way it really is, your life is full of blessings to begin with. So it's not half full, it's not half empty, it's full of blessings with some pain. And it's pretty good life. So, I truly believe that the possible outcomes are that you can recognize just how blessed you are right now, your true life. And you can be at, I think it's possible, just like me, hopefully, you can be at peace with the pain instead of fighting it. Be compassionate towards yourself and accept yourself and your limitations and be content. I mean, if you can show that to other people by helping them, you can certainly show that to yourself. And you can live a meaningful and joyful life. So number 5, step 5 is really follow up or follow through with this. Download and print out all the files from below, complete your action plan, perform your action plan and your journal, and leave me feedback and others' feedback on this site. Right now, post any questions or comments you have below. Right now, leave me an overall testimonial or a review of what you think of this. Bookmark this page as your favorites right now so you can come back to it, or save your email that sent you the link to this. And each week for the next month, I want you to post a comment or testimonial for others to read right here on this site. And share about this program on social media. So next, and before we wrap it up, I need your advice on how to help you. So this is actually the first part of a Christian-based video series that I'm creating on how to have more joy living with chronic pain. And I need advice for possible video series topics. So, for example, some of the topics I've brainstormed were let go of longing for your pre-pain self, get support and understanding from family and friends, be there for your family, reducing insomnia and fatigue. I want to design a program just for you So I was wondering if you would be willing to take a brief quiz below this video. There should be a link there. So click on the button. It shouldn't take you very long at all. And I'll use your answer to meet your needs with programs. And I'll notify you when these programs are ready. Okay? Well, I just wanted to thank you for attending this program today. I hope it helps you. If you want more information, my website is gochrishunter.com, and I've also got a Facebook page that's listed below. God bless you and good luck, and I hope to hear from you.